Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and it's Armageddon once again. The aliens are back. The pesky aliens. We can't get rid of these aliens. They're very determined aliens. This time, they want Ncutie Gatwa episodes. That's right. They're very ignorant, aren't they? But they have decided they're taking the Ncutie Gatwa episodes, and don't all of you panic at once. And they decided we can only keep 5. They said, we're going to let you keep 5. You can pick your 5. And we're taking all of the others permanently. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, with these modern episodes, why don't we just give you copies and then we'll have our copies? The aliens don't think like that. And since the aliens can bomb our planet into oblivion, let's not take off the aliens. I don't feel like having to spend more time down in the bunker. It gets very tedious moving all of this stuff down to the bunker and back out of the bunker. So let's just give them the Ncutie Gatwa episodes. Let's be honest. There's several of you who are going to be happy to give them. You'll give them all, a lot of you would rather give them all away, and let's just say it didn't happen. Let's be honest. There's several of y'all that would do that. But we're going to keep 5 of them. And here are the 5 I would keep, because there are a few Ncutie Gatwa episodes I do like. Number 1, 73 Yards. I like this one. It just feels very Doctor Who-y, very Doctor Who meets the Twilight Zone. This would have made such a good Twilight Zone back in the day. Especially since it seems one of the more low-budget episodes. And it just goes to show that you don't have to have this massive budget to make good Doctor Who, as if the classic series didn't already prove that. And to be honest, even the early modern series, is that you can make great Doctor Who on a low budget. It just encourages creativity. I really enjoyed this episode. I love the fact that we still don't 100% know what was going on. We don't know how all of that happened. What caused that whole setup to happen, where the Doctor was, why the Tardis. We don't have the answers, and I like that. I don't have to have everything spelled out for me. Much like Midnight, not knowing what the Midnight Entity was, we just call it the Midnight Entity, is part of what makes that episode work. It's the same thing here. Not knowing exactly what the heck is going on is part of what sells the episode for me. Also, Millie Gibson is fantastic. To have done this when she was only 18 years old is very impressive. And it's very telling that one of the best episodes, one of the most well-regarded episodes of the era, is an episode that barely has Ncutie Gatwa in it. It's very telling, I think. Very telling. Next on the list is Dot and Bubble, the next episode. This is my favorite episode of the Ncutie Gatwa era. I like Dot and Bubble a lot. I love its social commentary. I think it's done in a clever, intelligent way. I think it does a good job of making its points without feeling preachy. Like, I never feel like I'm being lectured to. I feel like it is a strong story with strong political points, and I think much like Classic Who, when it does that, it pulls it off well. The visuals are also very impressive. I think this is a good example of where the money went. I know years ago, I think Russell had an idea to do this story back when Moffat was running the show, but the budget couldn't do it at the time. This is an example of the budget being used well and pulling off a good episode. I love the kind of retro vibes of this story. As one of the other YouTube channels pointed out, it has a very 70s color scheme to it, which takes a little adjusting to, but is very interesting and I think adds some flavor to the episode. Plus, the performances from our guest cast really sell this. The Callie, I think is her name, the actress playing Lindy. She's fantastic. I mean, the episode pretty much hinges on her performance, and she nails it. She's just perfect. She makes you run the gauntlet of emotions for this character, because we have this character who at first we're kind of annoyed by, because she seems like a spoiled brat, and then you start kind of rooting for her because she looks like she's trying to grow, get better, get more independent, grow as a person. So you slowly start rooting for her all the way up until what happens to Ricky September, and then you're immediately like, no, this is a terrible person, and immediately you're like. And I love watching YouTube reactions of this, because you can see that's right where everybody's like. And then at the end, of course, finding out just how bad it is when she actually meets the Doctor in that whole final scene, and you're just like, I can't believe I ever felt any kind of empathy or sympathy for this person at all. Wow, these are terrible people. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are just like, yeah, they can go die now. It executes that run of emotions well, and a lot of that is down to the actress's performance. She's great at that. The actor playing Ricky September does a good job as well, because he's kind of a stand-in doctor in a way. If you think about it, he's the one person living there who's managed to kind of buck the trend and who's able to kind of rise above, and he ends up getting killed because he trusts the wrong person. He has faith in the wrong person. And so he's kind of our stand-in doctor character, and you expect him to kind of be a hero, and then he dies, just brutally, just goes right through him, and you're like, it just executes everything it's doing well. Also, Ncutie Gatwa's performance at the end is fantastic. Him and Millie, when Millie's just like, I can't even, and the doctor's reaction then. I really liked Ncutie Gatwa's performance at the end of this episode. I thought he really nailed it pretty well. So, yeah. Definitely an S-tier story for me. Next on the list is The Well. I think this is a good sequel to Midnight. Doing a sequel to Midnight, you always run the risk of hurting Midnight. You have to be very careful with an episode like this, because if you don't pull it off well, not only will you have a bad sequel to Midnight, but you could end up damaging Midnight itself as a consequence. But this episode does that well. It does a good job of keeping it hidden, even though it kind of leaked out online anyway. But keeping it hidden, that if you manage to avoid all that this was a Midnight sequel. You do know it is a entity, but the entity does operate in a different way here, which it's been so long it could have easily changed. I still like the fact we never see it. I do like the scene when you realize it is the Midnight entity. And it has a nice ambiguous ending, which I can't decide if I like or not. Part of me likes the ambiguous ending. Part of me doesn't. I kind of would rather them actually have gotten away. I know a lot of people will notice the extra light on the thing saying, "There are 4 lights!" I kind of would have liked, especially the deaf girl, I would have liked for her to have been able to just get back to her daughter and live her life. I always hate the fact that it might have ended badly simply because the doctor didn't stick around to find out. As we know, the doctor is not always the most responsible about that. But it's definitely a solid episode for me. Next on the list is Lux. I like Lux. It's not perfect, but I like it. Again, it has some social commentary. I think it's done pretty well for the most part. I like the guest cast. I like the main cast. It's zany. I like the idea of the doctor interacting with a cartoon, very Who Framed Roger Rabbit style. I love the fact one of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit animators was involved with this story. That's fantastic. And it just flows well. And I think Alan does a great job voicing Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I enjoyed this one. I think it was fun. And then the last one I picked was The Story of the Engine, which I thought was enjoyable. I think it was a very diverse story in a very good way. It's not like it's a B-tier story. It is a B-tier story, but it's interesting. I like the folklore of it. I like when the guy's claiming to be all these previous gods and the doctor just starts laughing at him. I enjoyed the brief cameo from Joe Martin. And of course I love the scene at the end when we see all the doctors and it overloads the thing. That's pretty cool. And then I like the fact that the guy at the end, the doctor kind of gave him a second chance. He doesn't give Conrad a second chance, but he gives this guy a second chance, which I don't know if that's quite fair, but because in both cases I think the villains are just misguided and could be inherently not bad people. I mean, even Conrad gets his happy ending where I guess somewhere the happy version of him had a better past. And it's interesting to show how our past can influence who we become, obviously. But I enjoyed this one. And also the bringing back the one actor who plays the barber, he's really good. I know he was also in, what is it, The Woman Who Lived? He's really good at this as the barber. So yeah, those are the 5 I would pick. It's not a very strong era, let's be honest. But those 5 episodes, I can say I definitely did enjoy to one degree or another. So I want to know the 5 episodes you would pick. And remember, guys, you need to pick at least 5. We don't want the aliens to think we're trying to get over on them. So we need to keep at least 5 of them. So surely you can find 5 you can tolerate if you don't like the era. So comment down below and let me know your choices. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There's a link to that down there. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons: Colin Coney, Unknown289, Androzani Major and Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. A link to the Amazon wish list is down there. A link to the Amazon UK wish list is down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.